Howdy. Yeah, another edition. Have to make sure this thing's. I wanted to get a little deeper into the lathe because the lathe is actually probably the single most important thing in a shop. You know, for survival. If you had to do without one machine tool or the other, it would be not worrying about the mill right away because you can do a lot of things, and we're going to experiment with that real quick. But I'm going to show you the basics of the tray top Cincinnati lathe, and it was made in Cincinnati. I don't have an exact date of manufacture handy, but I would assume around 1948 or 9. This came out of a program at a local college that they used to actually train people in occupational, they still do. They do CNC programming. People get out of that school and they make about 20 an hour, I'd say, around here. I don't know. It is what it is. Anyway, here is the basic outline of that lathe. I didn't want to get too much into that. We're just going to do hands-on stuff and then go from there. Now this is, I'll go over everything that's, what everything is called. This is the chuck. Of course, you have a chuck key, and whenever somebody says get the chuck key out of that, it's because it's sitting in that like that. Safety parameter is always to have that out of the machine. This is a center rest, or a steady rest, And basically what you would do is, I showed in a video yesterday for a tractor part, and actually this comes in and out of the machine all the time, and you have to, get used to doing some lifting. But that's real handy for longer pieces. What I'm going to work with is making a little sight window for my gearbox down here, if you can see it. And then doing that, I'll also show you, a lot of basics on the lathe. And I'm probably at some point going to get to like editing these videos, because I realize that there's a lot of time where I'm, what do I gotta blabber all the time? I don't know. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But I'm not trying to be I don't care if anybody actually watches this. I think it's cool that I could save a little bit of me I'm me, for my grandson. Really, my motivation. I'm not. Even though I'm poor, everybody has a motivation for money, sure. Anyway, this is a two-piece setup. I like this because if it actually did fall apart, it would probably separate, And I'm not big on being super fucking tidy. There's no point. I don't have a lot of time to spend out here. And I don't think you would either, so I'm not anal about cleanliness, but probably about getting tools off any kind of working area. Up here it's fine. This was one of the greatest inventions for machine tool industry of all time with this tray top, is it was flat. Now if you look over here, that was a closet, which isn't so flat, So, big difference. Nice engineering and design. excellent product. You know, if you were ever to replicate something that would, you know, be great for America, there you go. Because right now, we do not have an American lathe manufacturer. Believe it or not, we do not have one. We import one called a Weiler from Germany. So if anything were to happen to industry that I would see change would be American tool manufacturing, real tools coming back. So that's just my thought. I think it's better than the sheet metal machines that are coming out of Haas, which I don't have any problem with. It's just, you know, sometimes you can't win some battles with CNC. This is going to be the backbone of America. Yeah, turning. And I think the lathe is actually probably one of the most important machine tools, and I'll get to that in a minute. But to explain it briefly is to put an end mill into your chuck and use that as a cover. And taking a chuck of metal, I'm going to try it. I don't know. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to see how that works. I haven't done it personally. I haven't had the need to do it because I have a mill. But we could certainly check that out. I am going to try it though at some point. And that's our experimental piece. Again, getting stuff out of the working area of the lathe is pretty important. And I kind of want, I'm going to put this shield up, but you know, I don't want to spend 10 minutes, you guys watch me put a piece of sheet metal on a lathe. I just, you know, I do need a little guard back here. Keeping this chips out of this area is really important. I'm really kind of neglecting that, but I need to get a cover on that. And basically I'm going to fold over the sheet metal so it fits on there to cover all of that. And then this has a taper attachment. It's really super cool because you can do tapers. Great old machine. I mean, and you ever get a chance, I mean, you see them, they're probably $1,000 or, you know, whatever. They're really worth the money. Because if you're ever in a situation where you actually, you know, you got a big farm or, you know, whatever, ranch, super important if we do, God forbid, you know, I'm not, you know, when I talk about the zombie apocalypse, it's not, you know, literal. You know, other shit can happen, you know. One thing is, you know, conflict. Not, I don't know. I'm not going to get into how and why or what. You know, I wrote some fiction about it that's pretty cool, but, you know, other than that, I just can't, I don't think I'm that knowledgeable about it. But, anyway, what I'm going to do here is get the right diameter. Because what I am doing is going to make a sight glass right there. And that's just for the gearbox. When you're after the operator, sometimes you don't need that gear to run. I'm going to turn it off because it leaks oil out of the sight glass. And I actually do need to fill up this with oil. I've got to take the tools off and get all that done. And so, like I said, I'm probably going to edit videos and all that. I just, stuff that I'm trying to figure out too, you know. And it's awfully early in the damn morning, or it's just cold out here. I don't know. California, but whoever said it was all roses and shit and sunshine is They were wrong. Anyway, hey, I'm gonna get some stuff going. I will start with the turning of the OD on this glass, and then I'll get right back with you. Okay, what I ended up with on the measurement for the side glass was 1" 027. And briefly, I wanted to go over parts of the lathe. So the part that I'm moving right now with the big handle, this right here, that is that's called the saddle. You know, the whole thing is the saddle. And we have the like I went over a little bit, but here's the gearbox. That's going to actually drive all of the mechanisms that go with the feeding, you know, on the and then I'll go over the feed. But basically, when you're moving it, when you get the gear, you see the gear move. Lathe's a little funky. I put that taper pin in because it was easier, you know, easy thing to put on there besides the original handle. It got banged up moving, and we all know how that goes, I think. But yeah, we'll get to turning. And one thing I wanted to show folks a little bit closer is, and if you know, I do a lot of work with these. This is an important tool in the shop or whatever you're going to be doing with the lathe. One reason is it's the best center finding device on earth, because if you wanted to find center to cut, you want that at 90 degrees. Yeah, and if you're super picky about, you know, whether or not it were 90, I have these little handy little, you know, angle finder. If you want it, you can put that on that. 89.43. You know, 89.43 is pretty damn good at center. And actually, you want it just a hair under. And that's just a little lesson. One of the handiest things, a couple of little handy things. These little import angle finders are super sweet, super handy. Almost, you know, if somebody's gonna gripe about, like, oh, you're using that, oh my god, the tolerance, you know, I'm pretty sure these are got to be within a few minutes, you know, on degree. So anyway, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and nitpick people, and you're gonna find I make mistakes, and that's fine. You can point that out, and as long as it's not too, you know, humiliating. I'm not, you know, the thickest skinned guy in the world, you know. Hey, anyway, I'm gonna get going on this. I'm gonna turn it. Really hard to see what's going on. I've made better videos. Hey, welcome back. I think we got a good cut for the sight window that we're making. So yeah, basically, I've adjusted the nipple height to actually shave that really nice. So when you're cutting, you preferably, on a cutoff tool like that, your typical cutoff tool, it's 125 thousandths thick, and basically you're going to want to be below center, but not a lot. Still a little bit lower, but also you got to be very, very careful. These things will kill you. So I have to get to 1 inch 0.25. We're going to take that. We're going back to the turn tool. This is just a little Chinese import. You can get these for $8 off eBay. You know, Amazon, whatever, I don't care. I mean, even though I don't particularly like Amazon for obvious reasons, as a blue collar guy. Now, if you see that, you can see that that's called burnout, and I think I'm going to have that. It's not really the jaws or the funkiness of the lathe, it's more the material and the way it's chucking in there. I want to get a good cut. Okay, that's pretty good rough. I only got 24 thou to go. I got a geared cut. Oh, yeah, perfect. All right, let's go. All right, so I'm gonna take that. Again, I adjusted that for a good nipple. That sounds awful, but it's just what it is. I'm gonna go to full depth. I didn't really need it real wide. All right. Now, I think I'm going to be able to polish that. The nipple wasn't perfect, but it was on the actual cut on the other side. I'm going to go ahead and I got a little back wall on that part that I can actually, you know, lightly chuck up on that. Oh, you notice yes, I have a missing digit. Happened, fuck, wow, 20 years ago. So anyway, I miss it. I miss my finger. But, oh well, shit happens. So what I would do is get that finger tight, like, I don't know, 5 pounds of pressure just in it. Looks beautiful. And I come in here, but it looks like my tool post is a little funky. So really all you have to do it's not that much, I mean, it's not that far out of the norm to have to do that. I'm going to be real super close to these jaws. I didn't account for it. I don't know. I mean, what is the best stuff to use to polish that? I don't know. We could find out later. I'll put together a couple of different edited videos, but my nipple is awful. This piece of plastic came out of a thrift store. I have no idea what the hell it was for, but there you go. It's pretty close. All I really need to do is get it polished up. I mean, it could end of the world fucking scenario or whatever, you know, make it work. You got to plug that oil off, and then what you do is you make something that works. And I think I could tell when my oil is going to be flowing. That looks perfectly fine. I have a nipple. I don't care. As you'll soon find out, I'm not a perfectionist. Parts will get done that work. Over and out. Okay, I'm going to get that sight glass out. I stuck it on there, filled it with oil, and I realized it needs a O-ring. So I'm going to do that real quick. It really came out, you know, fine. That's the sucky part. Yes. I'm making a huge, gigantic mess. Back. Okay, guys. Hey, this is the idea we had to prove that the lathe is the most important tool, you know, in the zombie apocalypse, if I'm sticking with that theme. Basically, this is an end mill. Get a real close look. And the end mill will, you know, it's just a basic 2-fluter. And I really haven't ever done this. I've never had a need to, but I know that people do it. sketchy. I mean, it's never really. There's a little bit of movement in that give, but I think you're more than able to get a pretty precision, cut in that, because it's definitely repeatability, and I'll talk about repeatability as repeatability is just the idea that one thing will always repeat in each movement, and that's more than a good enough end mill cut. So we have proven. I mean, I would hate to go real deep with a C clamp and have somebody get killed. All of this is a disclaimer, since I am now showing you projects that would potentially kill you. Don't try this at home. Yeah, and as far as man, and I gotta get this fixed. This is part of my hokey little setup over here. I really just need a self-tapping screw, and I got sidetracked. Anyway, that was the experiment. Over and out.